Well, welcome back, my friends, all to another rousing rendition. Choir Boys Outdoors. This is the Battle Horse Woodsman Pro. You could almost say it's about old scab, but it's not. It's not. Now, the Woodsman Pro was made by Battle Horse Blades. I am a fan of Battle Horse Blades for a couple of reasons. One, they do camping, hunting, bushcraft knives. They do them well. It's kind of, the beauty's kind of, it's kind of hard to put into terms. It's clean and it's plain, and people would think that's a knock. It's not. It's a massive, massive positive. Any knife, in my opinion, that looks like a knife, I am all about. Now, it's O1 tool steel. The handle is made out of Elkhorn, which is kind of neat. I don't know that I've done one with Elkhorn before. It felt really good in hand. Now, the knife weighs 7.3 ounces. It comes in a brown leather sheath. It has a deep carry. And what I'm saying there, the knife sits deep into the sheath. I like those kinds of beautifully done sheath, double stitched. And it's Battle Horse knives. So here's the deal. Let me just jump into this and give you the stats as you're kind of watching the knife work. Again, it's O1 tool steel. Elkhorn is part of the handle scales, and it looks like the other part's micarta. It's got black G10 liners. Does have a lanyard hole. It's just really, really, really well done. The overall length, now I'm going to pull them as we're talking. I like doing that. I don't know why I like doing that, but I like doing it. The overall length is 8. It looks like 8 7/8, 8 7/8 inches. The blade looks like it's 3 7/8 inches long, with a cutting edge of 3 5/8. The blade stock is an 1/8, done really, really well. The handle scales themselves are right at, I don't know, man, let's see, 4 15/16 long. The inner grip, now it does have a rounded pommel. The inner grip, let's call it 4 1/8. So plenty of room there, plenty of purchase. The handle scale thickness, the thickness is actually right at 5/8 inches wide. Just feels good in your hand. Everything is nice and contoured. It does have a 90-degree spine. I think, yeah, 90-degree spine. Everything lines up with the handle scales and the blade. And what I mean there is, or I'm sorry, the blade stock. Everything at the handle is rounded and smooth and comfortable. And again, it does have a rounded pommel. So when it fits in your hand and it locks in your hand, it really just kind of wraps itself around and contours. There's no hot spots on the handle. We did a good bit of everything. The reason I mentioned kind of that rounded pommel there at the bottom is if you do need to stab, if you're coming down with some stabs, and we did in this video, you have a place to rest your thumb where you can get a little more drive. And obviously, it's much safer that way. Now, for this video, I've got to thank Timbo 437. This was in the box of knives he sent. It is absolutely gorgeous, man. He always sends some great ones. Now, Timbo, I don't know if this is your edge or not. Timbo is an edge snob, which always benefits me when I do the testing. So if it's not their edge, if it's not Battle Horse's edge, it's Timbo's edge. The edge was really, really, really well done. Let me look at it real quick. One thing I didn't pay attention to, and I should have, let me pull it up here. So it's a polished edge, but it's like right in that in between. It's like it just went a little bit from toothy into polished. You know how it just starts right there? It's not like a deep polish. This knife had pretty good bite on it. Here we're cutting up some extension cords, just one of the things we do. Did a little light batoning. I've talked about that at length here lately with the batoning. We're trying to take it back with knives like these to some common sense demonstrations, common sense reviews. What do I mean by that? Well, I'm not going to take a 3 7/8 inch blade and try to baton a 6-inch log. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. I wouldn't need to do that. If you find yourself in the woods in a bad situation, you want to take care of your cutting tool. If you're hunting, camping, fishing, whatever, this knife will serve you well. It really will. I always start off with the particulars, and then at the end, I'll say if I'd carry it or not. Let me go ahead and tell you, I would carry this knife. I like battle horse blades, but I also like blind horse, and I like LT Wright. And that group's right there together, and they have a lot of similarities. I can't put into words really. It's like fit and finish was excellent. It really was, but it just has that clean, rough hewn look to it. That's the best way I know to put it. You know what I'm saying? It's not glitzy and it's not glamorous, but it's just done really, really well. That Elkhorn really accentuates the entire blade. Now, when I took it to Kirk's, I had this and another knife. Kirk really, really, really preferred this knife because of the edge. It looks like a flat grind. Yeah, looks like a flat grind or saber grind. Let's go with saber grind. And it's just really well done. It's sharp. It was fun to play with. Some knives, I enjoy doing this with any knife. Don't make no mistake. No matter what it's made of, I enjoy it. But there are certain knives that just are vibe knives. This is a vibe knife. It's not huge. It doesn't need to be. It gives you plenty of blade, plenty of handle. And I say this every video. When we cut the zip ties, it's not to check the sharpness. We're putting a little bit of pressure on that edge. The heat treat on this one seemed to be very, very good. I didn't look up what it was. I just wanted to jump into the review. Now, slicing these little potatoes here. These are actually air potatoes. If any of you know what I'm talking about, it looks like a potato. It's grown in nature, but they call them air potatoes. But I thought this would be a good little demonstration. We don't do a lot of food prep, and I probably need to do more, but I'd have to coordinate with Megatron. So I thought, you know what, we'll just do some slices. I got some thick ones. I got some thin ones. And you can see just kind of, I'm not even trying to really push it. I'm just doing a little more of a saw cut there. The knife feels good, man. I found myself a couple of times doing a little bit of whittling and just kind of standing there whittling, kind of zoned out. That's the kind of knife, if that makes sense. Kind of the knife you could sit on the porch and whittle, or if you're at a hunting camp or anything like that, you're just sitting around. It's a great knife to occupy your time with. Conversely, if you need to build a fire, if you need to food prep, if you need to skin an animal, if you need to cape, if you need to do whatever you need to do, you can do that. This is a knife that is set up, designed, and made for long-term use. So you can use this for a long period of time. Your hand's not going to cramp. The edge held in very, very well. And again, this is 01 tool steel. I am a huge fan of 01. Now, we've cut a ton of shit by the time we get to this. This is that sandblast hose. It's 4-ply, 1-inch inner diameter. It's some thick stuff, man. It's all reinforced. It took me a minute to get through it. Not gonna lie, I messed around with it a lot. But after all the cutting we did, and I've already cut this one time, I believe, that stuff will take a toll on an edge. I thought overall, the edge held up very, very well. And at the end, guys, when we cut paper, I added that to give us a starting point and an ending point, right? So we might slice a piece of paper at the beginning. We slice one at the end. It's simply to show you where the edge is at. It was sharp all the way through, and you'll see as we'll get through it in a minute. The thing with the hose is, if you've ever cut any of this stuff, you know, once you kind of break the barrier, you can get on with it, but it's just getting in there. And the hose is probably, I'd say it's every bit of a 1/4 inch thick around the diameter of the hole, if that makes sense. So it's some really, really thick shit. But as much as I use the knife, as much as we did with this, man, I'm telling you, It's a crazy, crazy, crazy comfortable knife. Battle Horse, great job. Timbo, brother, thank you so much. I enjoyed this one. Guys, there was a time in this country where 22 vets a day took their own lives. Now, stats are everywhere. We're still in the holiday season, so it's higher. That's why here on this channel, we focus on the number 0. Anything over 0 is simply unacceptable. Vets, we love you. Man, you have a place here. Guys, I back the blue. It's not popular. I get it. Catch a lot of flack over it. That's okay. I don't try to shove it down your throat. I don't try to force it on you. But here's the deal. It's something I'll stand on because it's something I believe in. If you don't, I understand it. That's your right. But just because I'd sometimes say it and say we don't have to agree doesn't mean I don't believe in it. Finally, if you are an addict, and I am, never quit quitting. Well, again, thank you, Timbo. This thing's kick ass. I'm Scab. You're not. And I'm gone, son. Love y'all.